What is this thing about?
The Bible covenant kina wana timi lobo kana na mebiro lobo yorwa dong mira team practice soko chon.
Since independence, Uganda has lived through various violent conflicts. The legacies of such conflicts have never been comprehensively addressed. Can we say therefore that Uganda is at peace?
We are not at peace. The country is not at peace at all.
Generally, there is no total peace.
Karma go very low in Northern Uganda. Noni olo dano woro dano foro haribeni koko.
Uganda is not in peace because there are very many issues still arising.
Uganda country good really but and particularly home but down.
Town in Uganda could pay.
Town could pay. Pengoy town could pay Uganda.
Town could pay piano yellow million very wrong.
Okay.
Exactly, Uganda can't say it is at peace because there are a lot of strike. Prices of food and other items have risen up. And we don't say there is peace in Uganda actually.
What can be done to achieve justice with regards to Uganda's turbulent past? With these questions in mind, the Research and Advocacy Department of the Refugee Law Project is carrying out research to collect the views of Ugandans on conflicts that affected them and how transitional justice and national reconciliation can be achieved. The National Reconciliation and Transitional Justice Audit, the name of the project, will last a few months and will cover the whole of Uganda.
We're right now in Patong district. We came here from Patong, which is in Agago, having a focus group discussion that is tailored towards understanding the legacies of conflict and how we can deal with these legacies in the best way forward. So we have so far looked at very, very critically and in depth all the past conflicts in Uganda, leave alone Northern Uganda, but all the past conflicts in Uganda. We looked at their causes and also their impact on the community and also tried to identify perpetrators, bystanders, and victims and all that, beneficiaries for that matter. And out of all these, this exercise in terms of the focus group discussion has been in position to give us the capacity to understand what took place backwards and how we can move as a country forward.
From the 13th to the 17th of September 2011, a team of 5 researchers visited Pader and Agago districts of Northern Uganda as one of the first areas of the audit.
Well, we think the National Reconciliation and TJ audit is important in giving us an idea, a sense of direction as a country. What must we handle? What must we deal with if we want to move forward? I think we are trying to map out what happened, and we are getting a clear sense that a lot has gone down the road. A lot has happened that people are seldom aware of. We want to get this information out there to the public. We want to engage with the different stakeholders and let them know the plight of the people. What did people go through? How are they coping?
The team carried out focus group discussions with adult men, adult women, youth, civil society and local government, and discussed the subject matter with key informants including elders, cause and cultural leaders.
Used to eat cheaply. Our cassava flour was just 300 per kilo. But now, to my surprise, of late, it had, during heavy rain, it went past over 1,000, which we couldn't buy. This increase came, cassava flour. The increase came when our big man in the forest here came and bought all our cassava. Then straight away, people increased the prices.
That's the big man in the forest. Who's the big man in the forest?
Mr. Saleh. That's why our food price is now very high. Because of that market he brought here. And yet, we who were down here, we used to buy cassava flour for 1,000, you eat for 3 meals. But now you can't.
Wanang dimo kau puru kotia wa bol ameja terjuk ginu lonyo ni dang binu wili ratarai.
Mete wa makopada mete medwel charge. Watu pura medwa wel jome wadang.
Medwel jome won malo.
As reiterated by respondents, ethnic, regional, religious, social, and political factors have played a major role in shaping conflicts that were experienced in the past and today.
I was born when the issue of the Kejongs were already in existence. Me, myself, also, I don't like the Kejongs.
Also, in terms of employment, if we look around, the government is favoring the Western people other than these people from Northern Uganda. So you find that employment opportunity is a very big gap.
Conflicts like Konyi and that of the Karamojo. Even the Karamojo and come and kill people, take their cattle away, raping women and taking our properties.
They defeated UNLA by then, regrouped themselves to form what we call the UPDA. That came back from Sudan to fight to overthrow the current government. Now when they came, they started attacks in various parts of Northern Uganda.
These conflicts include liberation wars, rebellions, intertribal wars, gender-based conflict, domestic violence, land conflicts, work-to-work protests, and teacher strikes over cost of living, to mention but a few.
Because we're very lucky that we have a fertile land that could actually elevate us so fast. But generally, those things have hurt us in terms of our resources. But coins destroy all our human resources. And we have left with so many orphans and child-aided family.
Even the traditional system of marriage have changed. We used to have animals for marriage, but now we don't have the animals for marriage because we have been affected so much that in the 20 years of the war, we have been affected by the Konyi and the Karamojong altogether. So this is a bigger problem that most of us in Uganda and in part of the north are facing.
We lost most of our people, and the way she actually confused our community, even the few ones who are there, they don't even want to come back. There are some in Kenya and in other desperate. They don't want to come back because the way these people are being misinformed, they don't believe that there's life even in the community.
Putting the past behind without addressing the past will be akin to burying your head like an ostrich. Just burying your head in the sand like an ostrich and pretending that there can be peace. Actually, that will just be stability continuum, but not peace.
According to the respondents, these conflicts are caused by power struggles among political leaders and in the military and armed forces, the colonial legacy as manifested in the army and civil service recruitment policies, and the general governance system, among others.
Put it by agents. For example, the Karamoja things that we were discussing in the morning, the best standard was the government. Because how could you say we have been brought to fight the LRA, not this one who is taking out our animals away?
Okay, so
the Western world was a bystander.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Western world.
This LRA war, because first of all, they had the capacity to stop rearming these people.
Yeah.
But they continued to arm them. Then even the government of Sudan, because they are able to have them in their own country and give them support. They are not attacking, they help them. So they should be both bystanders and even beneficiaries.
I have to blame the political leaders, like the president himself. Why is he clinging into powers? He has to leave powers, not that only him is bright. There are very many bright people who actually can even lead the country. There are very many things actually which the president has done, but is keeping quiet on it. Why? There's a lot of corruption which actually need to be addressed.
After independence, there were no proper plan for actually to transform this country. So there was a lot of problem. You find that people are trying to bring in conflict based on tribes or maybe regions and whatsoever. They don't look at Uganda. It had brought in many other conflicts in the army department, police and whatsoever, and eventually it brought in these other military coups and other wars in the country. And you find that the Northern War, people are fighting because their children have been removed from being a president.
Respondents identified a number of impacts the northern conflict had on the region. These included increased crime rates, a breakdown of the education system with a generation who never went to school in over 20 years of conflict, high rates of sexually transmitted diseases like HIV/AIDS, land disputes, erosion of cultural values, gender-based violence, and inter-ethnic conflicts like between the Lango and the Choli.
In Padel, where we found a woman who had killed the husband, we found her in a prison. But this woman said that the husband was an army man, so he would all the time come, beat this woman. So one day she was like, this man wanted to kill her first. So she came with an axe and hit on the head, and he died first. He was like, let me kill you first before you kill me. Find that these women, because of the trauma they are facing, because of the hell they are going through in their homes, they look for the way to defend themselves.
The wars and the different conflicts that we have undergone in the country definitely needs a reconciliation process. And this reconciliation process actually it covers a very wide area from communities. We know, for example, the LRA war has caused a lot of conflict within the actually communities themselves. The people from Gulu, Kitgum, Pade, have different feelings towards one another as a result of this LRA war, and therefore there is need for reconciliation. Even within our communities here, you know, the son of so and so was abducted, and he was the one who led this rebel group to come and maybe kill people in this area. So there is need for reconciliation process to begin within the community, in the districts. Say Northern Uganda, there is need for reconciliation between the Acholi, the Lange Acholi and the West Nile, the Lange Acholi and the Karamojong and the neighboring districts, and even Northerners, Southerners, Westerners, Easterners. So I see that there is need for a reconciliation process to be conducted countrywide at various levels if we have to realize a meaningful peace. Because even the current unrest that is taking place within the country also needs a reconciliation process. The opposition group who are not satisfied with what government is doing, the government not being satisfied with what the opposition is doing, definitely needs a reconciliation if we have to realize peace in our country.
The respondents identified some interventions that were made to address the impacts of the conflict, such as NUSAF Phase 1 and 2, PRDP 2007 to date, ICC indictment of top LRA commanders, Juba peace talks of 2006, forceful disarmament in Karamoja, among others. At the same time, it became clear that many wounds were left by conflicts are still unhealed. Respondents lamented on what they consider unfinished business, such as the undecided Juba peace talks, the absence of a comprehensive reparation policy as a framework for compensation, a mental health crisis that is unattended to, an education gap, and lack of truth-telling and acknowledgement by different stakeholders in the conflict. To address the impacts of the conflicts, the respondents say that there was need for a legal and institutional reforms to address land conflicts, prosecution of both government and LRA suspects, and a need for a national stakeholders conference to bring about a reconciliation. Some respondents also called for a revival of the Juba peace talks. Further respondents also argued the need to adhere to key principles of traditional justice to enhance a national framework for reconciliation and sustainable peace.
Kidong peace talk makonyo bera kapor ke bera por peace talk konye wa ko jani ping da ko kwe madam
Wanyuri yen kai tuer niki kome yin mete ki mete ki por lo.
Yes.
Where she could be.
Other recommendations by respondents were government should enact laws that permanently address recurrence of conflicts in Uganda, the creation of an independent body to investigate the root causes of all conflicts in the community and government and deal with the way forward through recommendations to establish an effective democratic governance system.
People have faced a lot of problems. They are in trauma. They have been traumatized. Yesterday, somebody told us that most men don't function because of the conflict. As a result of the conflict, it affected them psychologically and physically, everything that men have. And actually, some other person also told us that women, while giving birth, they have to go through cesarean as a result of the conflict. Now you see that the conflict that took for more than 20 years has affected people in different ways. And this has to be, the government has to come in, or any other intervention is needed for these people in the Northern Uganda.
The reconciliation processes also goes a long way to also making sure that we have institutional reforms. The UPDF, I do not know the calculation that is always made. You would find that regionally the number of people recruited would not be equal. You'll find that some districts they are recruiting only 5-7 people, in some district 15-20.
The team marked the beginning of the National Reconciliation and Transitional Justice Audit and is currently analyzing and compiling the gathered views. This work will contribute to the formulation of RLP recommendations to achieve the comprehensive national reconciliation process in Uganda.
We need to reconcile. We come together so that we develop our country and nation wide.
Tinga malo, rwado kwe, tinga ko, tinga te juko.